What is the weirdest thing you find extremely attractive? My husband can do an incredible impersonation of a gorilla. Knuckles on the ground, butt sticking out, huffing noise, the whole deal. Wouldn't you know that has gotten me into bed more times than I would care to admit it. I want to say it's mostly because he makes me laugh so much, but damn, sometimes I see a gorilla and I'm like, wow, he's pretty handsome. Edit, I'm so fucking proud that this is my top comment. Thanks for the awards. Also, I think some of you are taking me way too seriously about finding actual gorillas attractive. Some impurities in the face like freckles or random black dots. My boyfriend has this one black dot directly below his eye in the middle of his left cheek. It makes him infinitely more valuable on the face market to me. Looks so darn adorable. The idea that in this microwave-ready, Instagram-perfect world, that there are people, like all of you in this thread, that appreciate the imperfections in people and make them sound like the most attractive features ever. Edit, thanks you guys. This is probably my most favorite thread ever. There is so much appreciation and positivity being spread here. I will always keep this in mind when I don't feel quite my best. My husband is older than I am, and he started getting laugh lines around his eyes a few years ago and I love them. I have mentioned it to him, but it makes him feel self-conscious about wrinkles, so I have to keep it to myself, but those and his freckles, swoon. My husband got himself this bear onesie. The first time he put it on I was like, what is this feeling? Why am I aroused right now? After a few occasions of him wearing it I was like, well, I guess I'm a borderline furry, although I think it's the snuggly softness that does it for me rather than anything animalistic. He still thinks it's very weird, but he will put it on for me when I ask. Too bad for him, our anniversary is in the height of summer. Edit, onesies are widely available, so I don't really understand why so many people are asking where he got it. I mean, they're literally everywhere, and it's not like his is special. It's not a magical onesie, it's just a normal, fluffy onesie with a hood and bear ears. It's also not one of those loose ones. I like the way it hugs his butt, but he bought his in Next, a basic high street shop in the UK. That was maybe 4 or 5 years ago, though, but you could definitely get one on Amazon. This has been my favorite comment so far. At first it was kind of funny to me, but I made it so much funnier in my head. I'm imagining some chick wearing lingerie and this dude in a bear costume comes out of the bathroom and in a Yogi the Bear voice says, I'm gonna taste what's in your pick-a-nick basket. P.S. Have a link to this onesie? Definitely not going to get one, just doing research. Edit, you guys are nuts. I appreciate you all. Here's a headline for you, man bears all for his lover. Ends in sticky mess. Trust me when I say, those prominent noses, like the ones on old photos and statues, are hot. Greek, Mayan, whoever. Works on men and women for me. I cry inside every time I hear of women getting a nose job to remove that gorgeous proud arch on their nose. At least men usually leave it alone. It just makes a face powerful. Wow, I have a strong nose and I've been pretty insecure about it my whole life. Your comment made me smile, thanks. I have trouble falling in love with my side profile, especially with all the nose job stories I see where they have a perfectly little dainty nose and I'm over here like, nose. I think there's a couple raw versions of people. A great one is when someone is just completely relaxed, like present and not worrying about anything else at that time. You get to see what they think and say and how they act when the mental space is cleared and they're free to think about whatever without life's demands pressing into their consciousness. Freckles, scars, and skin blemishes in general. So much airbrushing and makeup nowadays hide our human imperfections and make people look like they're made out of plastic. I want to see the unique pattern of the person and listen to their stories of how they got those scars. If I wanted to spend time with something with a perfect complexion, I got my car. Lucy was breathing somewhat stertorously, and her face was at its worst, for the open mouth showed the pale gums. Her teeth, in the dim, uncertain light, seemed longer and sharper than they had been in the morning. In particular, by some trick of the light, the canine teeth looked longer and sharper than the rest. Bram Stoker, Dracula? I dated a guy for a couple of years in my early 20s who always wore an open button-down shirt over a tee, and whenever he laughed really hard, he would grab the open shirt and bury his face in it while his whole upper body shook. He had a very giggly laugh too. The whole thing was ridiculously charming. Men who look tired. That whole eye bag, sleepy eyes, slightly dazed look. Also when a guy buckles/unbuckles a belt. Edit to add, for the people who thank me for giving them a confidence boost, just remember that more often than not the things we don't like about ourselves are deeply liked and even celebrated by others. Attractiveness is subjective and there will always be someone out there who loves you for who you are and appreciates your unique traits. My wife's hair is like the color of Storm from X-Men. I told her later on that her hair was insanely attractive to me the night we met, and she was like, I thought it was my accent. I said that too, and then opened my stupid mouth and said, your accent, your hair, and your elbows made me even decide to speak to you. The fuck? My elbows? I had to confess I love nice elbows. Ike, why? I'm 22 and I've had natural white hairs growing since I was 12. About 50% of my hair is now white, the rest a dark brown. I've always liked my white hair and I'm growing it out to be completely white, but always had other people, family/friends, tell me to dye over it. Thank you for making me feel less self-conscious. My sister has the same thing, though hers seems to be going silver a bit more slowly than yours. She totally enjoys it and gets people asking how she managed to get a mix of dark brown and silver, and she's just like, it does it on its own. It makes for a cool pattern when she puts her hair into a bun or things like that. She did once dye it a metallic red color, but it was a this would be fun thing since the dye would only take to the silver hairs rather than a I must hide it thing. My girlfriend doesn't have perfect teeth. She's super insecure about how 2 of her teeth are a little crooked, but every time she smiles it's the most adorable thing ever. Something about those slight imperfections just make her that much more perfect. She's planning on getting braces when she saves up some more, which is kind of a bummer. More power to her though. When I met my wife, her one front tooth was a little crooked, and I always thought it was kinda hot. She wanted it fixed when we were getting married for her wedding pictures, and I was low-key a little bummed, lol. I didn't make a strong case. I said something like, are you sure? I kinda like it. She pretty much told me it made her insecure and she hates it, so I couldn't really argue with that. I thought I was the only one though, that's funny. My fiancée mentioned something about always wanting to correct her crooked-eyed tooth, and I had never told her how sexy I thought it was, but that day I was like, OMG, absolutely not. That's my favorite tooth. It's so sexy. And she's never brought up fixing it again. And now I can freely gush about my favorite tooth with her. She thinks it's funny. I'm one of those people that love imperfect teeth. I worked in a corner store and one guy would come in that had prominent canines, not sure if that's the correct term. I loved it when he smiled and found out later the other woman I worked with felt the same. I had some chipped front teeth that I put off getting fixed because I didn't want the fake look that I see so often. I insisted to my dentist that I wanted them to look like my originals, and they pretty much got them there. Actually, this is what I came to say. I met my wife online. She was over online dating, but I commented on her nose and she loved it. We've been together for 8 years and are probably getting divorced any time now. Edit, I appreciate all the thoughtful, encouraging responses and the nose puns. I don't think either of us want a divorce and there still might be hope to salvage things. But if it does go that route, it was both of us who blew it. I went snorkeling with a guy from Holland once. I found him a little obnoxious. He didn't want any swim fins, saying he was like Aquaman underwater, and making a big deal out of it, to the group. In the boat, he was rummaging around the guide's compartment and found a big knife. He jokingly pointed it at the guides, while doing pirate noises. Honestly, he stressed me out a little. But when it came to jumping in the water, I was a little scared. I'm not a good swimmer, and I don't in particular like when I can't touch the bottom. He was the one who encouraged me, saying that he's also scared. He said a lot of things. And the reason why he hadn't taken any swim fins was because he felt like they were dragging him down. He let his guard down, to make me feel better, even though it let him open, to be ridiculed a little by the group, about his Aquaman antics. I liked him a lot better after that. That's classic AskReddit for you. People get excited, forget the actual question and just dive in with something vaguely relevant, lol. Always happens in the threads about TV shows/movies too. E.g., what are some underrated shows just devolves into people saying any show they like, which completely defeats the point. My girlfriend always cooks our meals, so I always do the dishes, and I love this arrangement because I find washing dishes therapeutic. Sometimes I do them just cause I feel like it. But she really likes how I do dishes, very aggressively, maximum water pressure, lots of clanking, etc. I nipped at a guy's ear I'd been dating for a few months and he jerked back and looked at me so bewildered and said, "What in the hell was that?" I apologized and said that I thought it might be cute. He goes, "Darling, that was more than cute. Who taught you to do that?" It was books. I read a book once where a girl nipped someone's ear. Lol. When you are close enough with someone and they share their morning routine with you. Like asking what they should wear and just basically getting ready for the day. Of course there is nudity involved, so maybe this is pretty basic, but something about sharing this private moment with someone important is really wild.